You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains. Then you will be handed over to be persecuted and put to death, and you will be hated by all nations because of me.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Unseal, the official podcast of Wings of the Eagle. I am Christopher Mantel, your host. Hopefully your brother in Christ. And please share this video. That'd be awesome. Get more people to see it, to know that from a Christian point of view, we're going to talk about things that are maybe a little uncomfortable. And but that's okay, right? The Lord has us, and the Spirit is always with us. So there's nothing to be afraid of. Amen. All right. Not even he who can kill the body. So let's talk about this real quick. You want to support us, by the way, if this is meaningful to you, if you think this is important, as Wings of the Eagle as a ministry, or this podcast generally, please support the work. wingsoftheeagle.com/donate. Any way you want to do that is more than welcome. Even if it's just telling somebody else, again, sharing the, putting on YouTube, telling somebody about it, etc. Very helpful. And you see at the bottom of your screen things that I'm involved with. Those of you who are watching, Jacob's Refuge, very important to help Israel right now. There's an app that we've created so you can be off of social media and just interact with other Christians 24/7 at endtime.app. And of course, we got an eye on prophetic things, fleetofthemountains.com. We'll get you that book and whatever format you want. Anyways. All right. So we weren't on last week, but some significant events have happened in terms of this UAP situation in the government. And that's, since July, that's been my main focus, other than trying to dissemble what it could mean if these things are true, and what exactly is interacting with us and flying around, and what's being hidden on purpose by us from ourselves, or by this other intelligence, whatever they are, trying to interact or avoid interacting. Anyways, just asking those questions, talking about it in a Christian format and forum here that you are welcome to contribute to. I encourage you to go ahead and ask your question or comment or concern at any point here. So what happened since we were on last? For the past several months, there has been debate around the new NDAA, which is shorthand for National Defense Authorization Act. This is how the military and the intelligence community, as they call it, the CIA, etc., are funded, and any laws that pertain to them would be in this bill. Every year they have a new one. And so, bless the Lord, bondservant. She's offering up some emojis of a little alien head and cookies. There's nothing better than that. But also a little T-Rex and a wave is always welcome as well. Okay. Happy Thursday. Tiki, brother. Come on, man. You gotta give me something better than that. Give me a tea. Give me a tea. Just kidding. Hello. Brother Mokul, what's up? We can't wait for the weekend. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you, man. We've got a little more ways to go here. But anyways, okay, so the NDAA, back in the summer, the Senate put a very mind-blowing, some mind-blowing portions into the NDAA that they passed without a problem in the Senate. And both sides, or bipartisan, there were Republicans and Democrats, senior people who wrote it and were behind it. Rounds of Republicans and Schumer on the Democrats were the main authors and pushers or sponsors of it. And Marco Rubio was also involved, and Kristen Gillibrand was also involved. So you've got both sides putting this very mind-blowing UAP stuff in there, including talk about, right there in the law, non-human intelligence, craft biologic materials from the occupants of these crafts, anything that we've recovered. There was also language in there that any private company that would have possession of these crafts would have to turn it over to the U.S. government so the Congress could know about it. That's called eminent domain, excuse me. That's very controversial, obviously. Anytime it's used, it's been a while. But it was striking the amount of things that were in there. And the Senate just blew right through it, and no problem. That was in July. And it took till December for the House to take it up. And if you know anything about how legislation works, one House usually creates a legislation. And they debate it, in their side, and then it goes to the other side, whether it be the House or the Senate, and then they kick it around. And if they have a problem with it, they amend it, and blah, 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 goes back and forth, and they get together, and then they finally come up with something they can all agree on, and they vote on that. That just happened this week. I think it was today or yesterday, it actually was put into law. But guess what? Even though the Senate flew by, no problem with all this UAP and NHI, non-human intelligence and crash retrieval programs and talk about dead bodies, basically, biologic materials that were recovered, non-humans, all this stuff that David Grush was saying was going to be the law, and you had to turn it over, and you couldn't keep it a secret. And there was going to be a review panel of non-government people, citizens, basically, who were like scientists and like, leaders, to determine what should be released to the public. It was very robust, but the House gutted all of it, almost all of it. All the parts that would have been very effective are gone. And it's because the Republican leadership in the House, the certain members, not all of them, obviously, some of the biggest supporters are Republicans in the House, like Burchett from Tennessee, Matt Gaetz, right? I mean, I have supporters there too, but the two Mike Turner, and who was the other guy? Shoot, I forget, from Alabama. They are heavily financed and supported by private industrial military companies, and they were leaned upon by said companies to gut this bill, make sure none of this stuff gets in there. And they succeeded. And so it's gone. To the point where, okay, well, that stinks. Or, boy, that was a shot in the dark, or what was that, a big joke? Like, why did that even happen that way? But was it yesterday? Schumer and Rounds, the two guys who created the legislation with all that stuff in it, in the Senate, had like a 20-minute back and forth in public on the Senate floor about all the stuff that was removed and why was it removed, like they're asking. So they're not giving up on this. And it just shows to me that there's a civil war happening within the government itself of the United States, within the private companies of the United States, within various scientists and religious, philosophical leaders. Like, it's a cold civil war, I'm calling it, because you have direct military versus military opinions on this, legislators versus legislators. And the whole big issue of it basically is the illegality of what's being kept. It's not being done right. It's not just a secret project. It's off the, not being told to Congress, not being told to the president type of off the books, which is completely illegal. And reason why is because that would be your new government is the ones who decide what to reveal and what to not, and have the protection of the taxpayers while doing it. So all those things are happening in this civil war. What I want you to know is, and I see some comments here. We'll get to all of this. I want to play a clip first of something also just released yesterday. A lot of this part of this interview was already public, and some of it was not. I just want to play you some. As a Christian, I want you to pay attention to this, okay? That's Ross Coulthart on the left, who has been really a driving force in not being afraid to talk about this to the folks who were involved. And so kudos to him. Wrote a great book called Hidden in Plain Sight, by the way. Highly recommend it, which just details all of these bits of evidence. And this is Gary Nolan on the right, who's a Nobel nominee scientist and whatever. I just wanted to show you this one little blip about what they say. And as a Christian, listen. That should blow your mind. Okay. We talked about this a little bit before, and this is now the third source I've heard say this. That active Christians in the Air Force, what he calls, and obviously Mr. Nolan is not a believer, in a strict Christian sense, certainly. I'm not sure what he is, but it's kind of poking fun at the fact that someone would say it's the devil. Like we've said before, even if that's true, the fact that there are Air Force Christians in the Air Force, in the government, who are covering it up and lying on purpose, how is that a Christian thing? How are you serving your Lord? By telling investigators like Coulthart not to talk about it and not to look into it. What? As if exposing the works of darkness would help the works of darkness. So we're told the exact opposite in the scripture. We're told to expose them. If this is really demonic, if it's really evil, if you really believe that, and if you work for the government, if you work in the Air Force, if you work in these programs that are SAP, special access, bigoted, no one can know anything, you have to officially deny you even know about it level, which is what these are. And by the way, the only reason they exist is because it's real. You don't make all these layers of security for something that doesn't exist. So if they really believe that, what are they doing? Christians in the Air Force, what are you doing? Quit. You know, have some guts, integrity. Have some integrity and leave your job. If it's that big of a deal, then get out. You're literally dealing with demonic forces that are somehow in your mind being held at bay because you're keeping secrets. Get out and hopefully do the right thing and tell the world. Okay. But that perception is there, and that's disturbing. Okay. So that's number one. I just want you to process that as a Christian. Now we're going to move on. There's a question about Grush here, and I guess I'll take this first, and then we'll get to the follow-up point I wanted to make. I saw an article, Grush went public to protect himself from getting killed. Kind of, sort of. If you listen to the interview he did, the long one he did on Joe Rogan, and now he's hitting Tucker Carlson, there's a reason why. There's a very good reason why he's going on those shows. Those are the biggest audiences that are not mainstream media right now. The biggest audiences are of podcasts and, alternate media, you could say, are those two people. And so he's going where the message is going to get out. What he has said is how does he put it? Not directly threatened with being killed, but him and his wife were shown that, I think his words were, they can touch us at any time. So, yeah, he was threatened, and that's part of the reason, but mostly it says to do the right thing. He says he didn't want to be a guy that all of a sudden he's, a career intelligence officer, 20, 30 years on the job, and he's never told anyone what he knows because it's too important to him not to say. So it wasn't cool, basically, for him to live and die with this secret. And then the fact that when he tries to do his job, he was stonewalled by other parts of his own government and stopped from getting information and said he didn't have access when he knows he does. That's the reason he came out. But yes, there were threats made apparently as well. What's the full form of NDAA? Do you mean the name, National Defense Authorization Act? You can find it online for sure. They just passed it. It was either last night or I think it was yesterday. So the text is definitely available. And there's a write-up of there's actually 4 portions of it that are still UAP related. And that passed. And the most significant one, well, I don't know, but it sounds kind of dumb right now, and it is that the National Archives apparently will now be under law to receive any documentation from any branch of government related to this issue, and it must be automatically public. That's what National Archives is. It's for the people. So there's ways around that. You could classify it. You could say I'd lost it, which happens all the time. I don't have any records of that, which is how the intelligence community does things, which is if a real important meeting is happening, put your pens down. No notes, no papers. Oops, sorry, Tiki, I'll get to you in a second. Anyway, that's the answer to that. One more thing I wanted to mention. I see Tiki's got a bunch of stuff here. It's not just David Grush. I told you guys this right off the bat in July. It was in the dozens, not just a whistleblower or 2 or 3 crazy people. We're up to, as far as I know, over 30 now. 30 whistleblowers have come out through the proper channels up to this point with the intention and understanding that this NDAA would be passed with this stuff in it so they wouldn't have to expose themselves. They could do it the internal way, which is go to your inspector general of either the intelligence community or the Pentagon and run it up the chain that way to get it all legal, your legal ducks in a row, and do it as far as they're concerned the right way. So the over 30 of those people, and they all agree. That's the thing. And so that's why this law was crafted the way it was, because they were hearing from person after person after person after person saying, yeah, this is for real. Here was my job. Here's my evidence. Here's where I was stopped or threatened or shut down. This program's not legal. Here's how I know, et cetera, et cetera. So now all of a sudden the stuff that should have been passed wasn't, because of the sneaky stuff in the House gutting it out. You're getting immediate reaction now from new people. Tim Gallaudet is a former high-ranking U.S. Navy officer, and his quote that just came out last night is, "We are being visited by non-human intelligence with technology we really do not understand, and with intentions we don't understand at all either. What you have going on right now are legacy classified programs, special access programs without congressional direction and White House policy. Or no, without congressional direction and White House policy, that's not going to change." So he's saying there's special black programs that will continue until the laws are actually changed and the president actually speaks up, whoever the president happens to be, and declassifies. It's not a theory. I mean, these guys are coming out. These are serious high people. And when Grush says he interviewed people, the head of agencies, the head of 3-letter agencies, the bosses, and they tell him these things, I don't know why we're fighting it. There is no, that I could tell, none of these whistleblowers are saying this is our secret tech. That would be a good reason to have special access programs. We're developing a technology that would give us an advantage. You know, again, it's all war fighting. It's nothing positive, but whatever. We have this technology and we have to keep it secret because if, you know, like the Blackbird program or all these cool planes that we come out with that radar can't detect and it can go really fast and shoot a lot of bombs or, you know, drop a lot of bombs. Okay, cool. If China found out about that, then they would have one, and that's not cool. Then we wouldn't have the advantage anymore. I get that. But this is not that. This is not our stuff. We want to make it our stuff, apparently. We want to. We've been working on it for decades, and we can't do it. That's what you're learning when you read these guys who are coming out. They say, well, yeah, I mean, we're trying to build stuff based on it or crack it or, you know, get to the physics of how these things do it, but they're not ours. We haven't succeeded. I could read you more quotes from stuff, but I won't today. The point is, this avalanche apparently is going to be coming out now because the legal way didn't work. And there's enough people in these programs themselves and in the military and in intelligence who have decided that's enough is enough. Maybe they're going to change tactics and actually go public instead of whatever. Maybe they're going to break the thing they're scared of the most is breaking an NDA. It seems like it's like being cast into the lake of fire to them is breaking an NDA, non-disclosure agreement. That's what they're afraid of. They think they're going to get hurt. Their families are going to get hurt. Their career is over. They're going to die poor. I don't know. But this seems to be the thing that's held over them that you can't do this. You signed a paper. Okay, so let's get to your comments. I think that's about all I wanted to bring up. Just so chew on that tidbit about Christians in specifically the Air Force, but throughout the Pentagon, who don't want you to know about it because in their terms, it's demonic. Why don't you let the non-military people of the world, of your country, decide that? How about the pastors? How about the theologians? Okay. No offense. But God chose you to do something other than full-time ministry. Maybe you're wrong. Okay, here we go. The stuff has been run through the Department of Energy, so most of DOD wouldn't know. You need to watch the videos at Vec Aerojo UAP spheres, lighter than air. Yeah, but again, Tiki, these are attempts at reproduction. This is not the original stuff. And the reason why it went through the Department of Energy, I did this, I guess, what was it, maybe in August? We did an episode about showing the actual Department of Energy act. And because these things were giving off radiation, that automatically put them under the Department of Energy. So the point is, we didn't create them. We recovered them. We got them. We learned about them through whatever means. Maybe we shot them down. Maybe we found them somewhere. Maybe there's communication. I don't know. Maybe just observation. Maybe we're just picking them up with our eyes and our instruments and thinking, oh, that's interesting. Wonder what that is. Why are they in my missile silo, nuclear, ICBM area? We don't want that anymore. Let's get our own one. Yeah, again, Kent, I respect you, brother, but you're wrong on this. These are not wrong, but these are not the original stuff. These are the kindergarten versions. Just like imagine if you, I don't know, you took an iPhone back to 1960 or 1900, and then having them play with how that's possible. And then they produce something that, oh, look, we can make a communication that's wireless, and thinking that's everything that the whole iPhone is. Do you know what I mean? China stole the tech and started working on it around 2011. Again, this is another aspect of it that, again, if we're honest and open about this, Russia and China, they have their own programs, not because they stole it, because they have their own programs. They have their own encounters with these things. They're going all over. Brazil has had them. Northern Europe, tons. The only reason you hear about it from America all the time is because we are an open society. Because we have checks and balances. Because we have mass media. Because with our individual person can have a lot of influence on, reach people and, go through data points and stuff like that. So Russia and China have their own programs because they have their own encounters with the phenomenon, not because they stole it. This is what I want to get you guys. There's nobody who is coming out with this stuff is saying it's not real. It's real. It makes us feel better. We don't have to change our worldview if we think it's just our secret technology. Like we're just working. But guys, look, these orbs, these tic tacs, these flying discs and lights and disappearing and going millions of miles an hour has been going on for 100 years at least. Okay? It doesn't just start. The reason why we had the Foo Fighters in World War II, these are documented. These are flying spheres and orbs and lights around fighter jets in World War II in Europe. So we didn't have anything like that. We don't have anything like that now. So it's really kind of, foolish to pursue this, it's just our stuff and it's a secret plan by the military to keep it. It's not. They don't know how to, like you said, the cat's out of the bag. They don't know how to contain the fact that they don't know what it is. That it's actually not human beings who made it. That's the mind-blowing stuff that they will never admit willingly. That like if you're in the Air Force, or the armed forces generally, but if you're in the Navy, if you're in the Air Force, your job is to secure the airspace of the United States, right? I mean, first and foremost, yes, you do things all over the world, but your primary job is to keep the airspace over America safe and free of threats. But these things are in our airspace, threatening our pilots over our bases. They don't have control over our airspace. The Air Force has failed. By the way, that's why it was created in 1947, the Air Force. Because we're going to need some kind of what if they're hostile? What if they start shooting? We're going to need an official military branch to deal with this. That's why the Air Force was invented. Same time as the CIA, by the way. Exact same act of Congress. Just saying. T-Rex says, my dog ate those important documents. That is funny and totally not funny because it's exactly what's happening. Again, if you want to look into go this direction, if you want to look into FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, there are people who are very, very focused and involved on FOIA all day long. That's all they want. I want to see documents. I want the government to release documents. It's Freedom of Information Act. I'm going to file requests. Let's get this. And they'll come back. 90% of it's redacted, or sometimes literally just the other day, what was it, a week or two ago, new thing was come out, request was made, the FOIA, and the reply was, we lost it. So we can't give it to you because it's gone. Whoops. Sure, that's exactly what happened. I think UAPs are principalities and fallen angels. Now, I love everybody who's on this podcast right now and who has guts enough to make a comment. I really, truly. Now, we can think these things, but we have to have evidence why we think them. It might be right, but it might not. We just don't know enough because we're not being told. And I think the secret sauce of this whole thing is the ones who do know don't know either. That's what they're afraid to come out with and say, we honestly don't know what this is. We don't know where they're coming from. We don't know how they can disappear. It's all well and good to do maneuvers and have medals and whatever, but they don't follow the laws of gravity. They don't follow propulsion, and they literally disappear and reappear to the naked eye and to instruments. We can't do that. Or dinosaur ate my documents. Yeah. T-Rex says fundamentalist, quote unquote. I thought several scientific discoveries would rock their theology. Heliocentric solar system around Earth, etc. Exactly. Yeah. I think that's kind of what we started off this series talking about was how religious Christians often will get in the way of the truth because erroneously they believe the Bible speaks against it. So it must be evil or wrong. Like the sun being the center of the solar system, or that's why we call it the solar system, right? It doesn't revolve around the Earth. But the Earth's not flat, but we don't have to be scared of the truth. Even if it's evil, even if it's demons flying around, and that's what we're experiencing. So what? So what? I mean, as a Christian, why do we care about that? I mean, what's the big deal? You have power over them, don't we? Isn't that what we believe? Didn't Christ disarm them at the cross? Disarmed. That's what Paul says. Disarm the principalities. So that means they have no more weapons. Now, that's kind of an argument against actually these things being a principality, in my opinion, but whatever. So that's an aspect too, is that they're not disarmed. I mean, they have hurt people. They have stopped missiles from launching. They have told the missile launch computers to launch the missile. Okay, this is they can do things if they want. And that's the very uncomfortable pattern that's emerging, is that they get seen when they want to. And they interact when they want to. And they come and go when they want. So we got to deal with that. A few weeks ago, I stepped outside. It was night. I saw a low flying light. It was a drone. Yeah, there's drones everywhere now. I'll keep hoping to see a UAP here. Well, here's the thing too. Who's to say the UAPs aren't drones themselves? I don't mean human drones. I mean, they're just machines or whatever, and they don't have pilots. They're just being basically like, you're sitting on your deck and you're controlling your drone as it flies over your neighborhood, right? No one's actually in that thing. And yeah, there's an intelligence behind it. The intelligence controlling it is just not with it. So I'm just saying, like, that's a possibility too. Like orbs or like Tic Tacs or like they're not necessarily what we would think of as a vehicle with actual pilot. At least not how we know. Anyways. And again, if we're talking, senior Navy people now coming out, senior intelligence people, fighter pilots. I mean, they're not making it up. And you're not going to, anyways. There's a lot to get through on this. So, bottom line is, let's recap. The past 2 weeks since we talked to you last, there was a debate that gutted the NDAA of these UAP provisions, and people are ticked off about it. It's not okay that it was gutted. It's not just oh yeah, the military called the senators over and the House members and said, by the way, guys, this is our stuff. Don't put that in there because we're going to give China the advantage if they find out about our super Tic Tacs that we have. And yeah, we're flying it around our own guys and putting billions of dollars of equipment and lives in total danger. But, that's because we feel like it. And it's all ours. So don't even talk about it anymore. That's all they would have to do. That's all they would have to do. And it would be gone. The Senate, the House, no one would talk about it. But the reason is it's not that. People in the field, in the business, in the biz, in the aerospace industry, in the Air Force, in the CIA, in these defense intelligence agencies, the Pentagon, you name it. Some of these guys have said, no, we're lying. I was lied to as an employee, or I don't have access when I should. And I've seen this, or I've experienced, I know for a fact this program is for real. And we have other stuff that's not our stuff, and it's not China's or Russia's stuff. We don't know we don't know whose it is. Or some people say, yeah, we know. We have bodies. And we can kind of make this orb that we found float around, but we don't know how it works. We can't control it. Stuff like that. That's the type of thing that's coming out. Anyways, I know it shakes us up. The way the UFOs I saw flew defied anything known that flies. Astounding maneuvers. And that was over 20 years ago. Yeah, I mean, thank you, T-Rex. That is kind of what I've been saying and people have been saying. It's like we can't chalk it up to modern stuff. We just can't, because we've seen the same things this whole time. Marisol, hey, didn't know they hurt people or interfered in missions. Yep. And again, we don't know how that all works. We don't know nearly as much as we need to, but Marisol, if you do reading on this, and this is not UFO books. Okay, these are people who are serious and document stories that were actually done, and people who were the techs who were sitting at the ICBM desk, okay, with the guys that turn the keys when they get the order to launch. Those guys have talked and said, yeah, we had one fly over our base and turn off all our systems. One time turned them on and said launch. So whatever this is, we would never, ever, and this was in the 60s and the 70s, Marisol, okay? Not yesterday. Not 2004, like the tic-tac, or you know what I'm saying, 2012, 2014. No. This is in 1970s, before I was born. Right around when I was born was this case I'm thinking of in Montana and North Dakota with the ICBM stations. But in the 60s, it happened too. And it wasn't just us. It happened in Russia. Russia actually chased them, the UAPs, the UFOs, they chased them with their fighters and shot at them. Now, we're not going to take our own tech and go to our own ICBMs and tell them to launch. Agreed? Okay. We're not going to go to Russia's ICBM and start World War III because we want to test out some experimental stuff. And again, this is not recent. This is in the 80s with Russia, and the 70s and the 60s with our missile silos, and the 40s are on our nuclear test sites, and in the 50s outside Washington, D.C. I mean, it's just like, and yeah, they're constantly, Marisol, to your point about the mission, they're constantly around test ranges and battlefields in the Middle East. We have video of it. Oh, cool. It says Hugh Ross said in an interview on YouTube that UFOs usually harm people who are involved in the occult. I wish I had, and Hugh had better data on that, but I can't corroborate that at all. I don't know, but what I'm talking about in Brazil, there was an incident where many people were actually harmed. They had brain damage. It had nothing to do with a cult. They were just looking at it. Might sound rhetorical. Bondservant says, might sound rhetorical, but I know many must be asking the Lord for the answer, so why wouldn't he tell us? He has his reasons, I guess. Okay, Tiki, physicists don't know. The ones who have seen them and who know and who've seen the data don't know. You can go find them. Hal Puthoff, Puthoff. Eric Davis, Dr. Eric Davis. Physicists involved with these programs who were brought on specifically because they could not explain. They need new physics to understand it, or new understandings. We can't replicate it. If we understood it, we could replicate it. Oh, yes, tons, Marisol. I could recommend, I think I made a list here. Hang on. Oh, by the way, I'm just looking at the link. 1979 article about here it is, 1975, October, November, the 4 Northern Tier Air Force nuclear missile sites, 1975. That's when I was born, October 75. There's a link to it right there. but don't have. I should probably make a list. Let me look at I'll show you my reading the past couple of months, and these are all recent books, like the past 2 years. Definitely the one Ross Coulthart's Hidden in Plain Sight. Skinwalkers at the Pentagon. UFOs and Nukes. Robert Hastings. In Plain Sight, Ross Coulthart. What did I say? Skinwalkers at the Pentagon. That's Colm Kelleher. There's more, but it's more kind of wacky from there. But those books are excellent, sourced, government, military focused, data stuff. The Skinwalkers at the Pentagon was about the OSAP program. And again, it just shows the divide in the civil war that's happening within our own country over this. Military versus military, intelligence versus intelligence, different government agencies against each other. And you see how divisive it is, but also how unifying it is, because it's transcendent of anything else. We're not talking about, impeaching Joe Biden or January 6th or something like that. It's like AOC and Matt Gaetz agree. Marco Rubio and Chuck Schumer agree. That should tell you right there, there's a major issue that you need to care about. And that as Christians, we're going to have to lead on this. And do not convince ourselves that it's mundane when it's not supernatural, earth-shaking stuff. That's what God promised us as the age draws to a close, is everything that can be shaken will be. Everything. And we should know. I guess the next episode we'll do is focus on non-humans in the Bible, other than God himself, right? And us humans, there's others, good and bad. And God made them. And sometimes they interact with us. And there are different kinds of creatures, right? So anyway, just to understand that reality, I think we compartmentalize it, which is the whole issue with the secrecy, is the compartmentalization of information. This section can't know, this team can't know what this team knows, and this guy can't know what this guy knows. That's how we keep it safe. That's how we keep the secret. So we compartmentalize it mentally. Oh yeah, I know there's angels and seraphim and cherubim and Ezekiel's wheels and the throne of God and angels visiting and disappearing and looking like people and then Satan and what is he about and why is he? We know all that. We think we know that, but then we the other part of our brain that actually believes it's real. What if they actually showed up? What if you could actually go see them, or they could see you, or they can come talk to you? That's different than, acknowledging something in a book, in a story. Oh yeah, I know about that part of the story. Yeah, that's the angels. Okay, I know that part. Well, then you actually engage with these non-human, but not God, creatures. For example, well, how would that change your mind? I mean, your perspective. You would go from, yeah, I know it's in the book, so I believe it, to, wow, okay, now I really believe it. Now I know it. There's no reason to deny it anymore. What if creatures, whether it be And again, I hope you all are not assuming that I believe anything at all about it. I don't. I really don't. The whole, the aliens from another galaxy thing is not what I think it is. I don't think the evidence is pointing in that direction. But the fact that we should be open to the evidence as Christians and not snap to judgment of either it's demons or it's totally made up or it's our technology. We can't assume any of that because that's not the evidence right now. That's not what we're being presented with. Anyway, I just think it matters a lot. And I think based on that clip that I played in the beginning, about how Christians in the government are actively preventing this from coming out is distressing. It's distressing as a citizen of America, number one, that any part of, the military or any CIA or any part of anything is conspiring to keep something that shouldn't be kept and stealing money and doing things illegal and maybe even killing people to keep it secret. That's bad regardless. But now you're using my Lord and my scriptures. The church that I'm a part of is now going to be blamed, maybe rightly blamed, for keeping a secret. Look, we see this in ministries right now with sexual abuse and all this, right? How do you think that comes across to non-believers? That we encourage this, that we're just about breaking the law and covering it up with Jesus. Because that's no different than what's happening now with these Christians in the government who think it's demonic. And who are they to say? Let's let the church see it and know, and then we'll find out. You know what I mean? So how is that any different than a IHOP situation with Mike Bickle? The guys at the top think they know better. They're going to cover it up. They're going to slander those who come at it. They're going to give you an alternate story. They're going to say it's not so bad. They're going to say, "Oh yeah, it was agreed to," or "Yeah, it's a secret, but it's worth keeping." Same old, same old. Um, 75, me too. Oh, okay, birthday buddies. Hidden in plain sight. There's a recommendation from Bond Servant. Yeah, it's really good. Reflexively assuming secret government tech is of another dimension. Okay, now you're reflexively assuming that it's secret government tech, aren't you? I'm just right. We're all being reflexive if we're not being honest. I don't want to be reflexive about it at all. I want to believe what I'm hearing from people who serve the country and are willing to say so. I don't believe people who keep secrets. I don't. I do believe people who want to tell the truth and who will go to cut against the grain. That's our witness. I don't assume they're from another dimension. I don't. But they can appear and disappear in the sky. It's on camera. What do you call that? I mean, I don't know what else to call it. Wormholes? Cloaking devices? Again, stuff we don't have. Right? Like, it's pretty easy to, in my mind, just to be fair about it, it's very easy to say it's not our stuff. It's very easy. Now, what it is instead, that's another question. And that's the bottom line of these guys who do know, who are in the programs. If they're being honest, they say we don't know either. He said, we don't know how this is happening. We don't know what this is. Unfortunately, it seems the only progress that's been, not progress, the only truth that has come out at all is that we're afraid. We want a bigger gun. We want a better weapon. And we're afraid that our enemies are going to get that weapon first. That's all it is to us, in one sense. Is whatever this is, whatever this intelligence is, whatever these machines or this phenomena is a means to kill. That hurts our Christian witness for sure. Anyways, Marisol says, perhaps they're keeping it secret now because the church is not ready. What do you mean? Who are they they're not the gatekeepers. They're not shepherds. The Air Force employees or CIA employees are not my pastor. Perhaps the Lord told him to keep it secret for now. Why? I mean, he hasn't told me. Keep it secret. No. Nothing that will be hidden will not be revealed, Jesus said. Where in the scripture does he say keep a secret of anything? Shout it from the rooftops. He says, what you hear in secret, shout from the rooftops. How in the... No. He did not tell them to keep it secret. I guarantee you. If they're probably processing it through, if I say something, it will endanger my country or will endanger my family or my well-being or my job. That's the calculation, I'm sure. And that's not evil. That makes sense, but don't use your Christianity to say this is what. Don't tell reporters like Ross Coulthart, don't talk about this, don't look into it because it's demons. That's not biblical. That's not God. $75. I graduated from high school. Yeah, I know, Mama. I know. I'm sorry. Well, I didn't know, but you're younger at heart than most of us, believe me. Yeah, for real. You do look better than us. All right, goodbye, T-Rex. Love y'alls. I'm talking about the believers. Yeah. And what's it saying? Amos, the Lord reveals what is up to his what he tells to his servants, the prophets. Right. In other words, what he's up to, he's going to tell somebody. He's not going to keep it a secret. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I don't know, friends. I know obviously there's, some people are I just want, Tiki, I don't want to come against you or be any kind of way with you, man. I really don't. I just want to caution, just be open to people who are in the middle of it and don't rely on, what you think, because we don't. If we're not being told, that means we don't know. If there's information being kept, then by definition, we can't know the full story, right? So let's hear it all. Let's hear it all. Get it out. Apparently, some people are really ticked. It's a real thing. It's not made up. It's not a secret program because all they would have to do is tell the rest of the government, hey, guys, secret program. Just knock this stuff down. We don't want to, kill this thing right now. I mean, this has happened before. They were saying, yeah, we're looking into this and there's nothing to it. But yet we know for a fact they did not stop looking into it. And there was something to it at the same time. We have proof of that. We know that. So them lying, them being the unaccountable folks in the government who want billions of dollars and never have to explain what they're doing, and getting secret tech recovery teams and all that stuff. They want to just continue to do that and not be responsible, because in their mind it's some kind of weapons race or whatever. Okay, all right. Let's just not assume anything. Let's love the Lord with all we've got and be people of truth. People of truth. That's what we are, right? Love first, and then truth, spirit, truth. I'm gonna change my moniker to Mama Bondservant. Yeah, that's cool. Do that with a cookie as your icon, or as your what do you call it? Avatar. Oh, is that Shaun the Sheep? He's cool too. Yeah, no doubt, man. That's what this is. Hopefully, is keeping an open mind. Exactly, on all of this, and yeah, it will definitely hurt. Tunnel vision will hurt us completely. And not just the first century. Yeah, we're talking about, remember, the flat earth belief, the heliocentricity thing, the fact that we went to the moon at all. Some people still don't believe that. That rockets penetrated the firmament, right? They say, oh, the Bible won't allow that. We can't go into space. So, like, we just got to be people of truth, in love, and we'll be fine, right? Okay, so let's keep advocating for the truth to come out. Let's be available when people are going to freak out, because they are going to freak out, guaranteed. I think 2024 is the year of the freak out coming up, so let's be ready. All right, guys, love you so very much. Thank you for all that you do. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you for supporting the ministry here at Wings of the Eagle. Please continue to do so. Again, you see at the bottom of the screen the places to go to help and to learn and to share the message. Okay. wingsoftheeagle.com/donate. Love y'all. Until next time. Who knows when that is? If there's something really incredible that we got to come on for, we'll do that. Till next time, this is Unsealed, the official podcast of Wings of the Eagle.